This has to go on. This sort of thing, whatever you want to call it, has to go on, because it brings us all together.
To allow you time for lunch at 1, which is the plan, we have just over 35 minutes here. And I think the best way to do this would just to seat Frederick Fennell right here and let you prompt him to talk. And if you're a little timid to do that, we have some bags of tricks in our pockets to get the thing going. So we invite Dr. Fennell back up. Okay, first question.
Far away.
Great to have you here.
How did you come up with the wind ensemble idea?
Oh, by playing every piece of music I could lay my hands to. By studying all the styles. I became an opera conductor. Of course, I was immediately into the orchestra, and I had this large symphonic band. We had to have that in school, but you know, it's hard, as we all know, who's going to play in it, who you're going to pick for it, or who wishes not to play in it. So, since he had experience with all kinds of things like this, Howard Hanson solved the problem by simply putting up a simple notice on the call board. In this school, if your instrument is a reed, brass, or percussion instrument, and at our discussion, the piano and harp, you will play in the Eastman School Symphony Band, period. I took care of that. Therefore, we had an instrumentation of 127, 128 players with 25 flutes, 16 French horns, 9 bassoons, no saxophones, all kinds of things like that. But it was a wonderful group. We played everything. It was there for them to study the music literature as they knew it in the orchestra. We just kept banging that back at it. And that's how that goes. Thank you. Yes? Sir.
I know you've conducted groups, wind groups all over the world. I just wondered if you could describe some of the differences you've encountered in terms of, say, working with Tokyo as opposed to Dallas, or just differences in mentality or how they view the band medium, things like that?
Well, the Kosei Wind Orchestra was founded on the principle of the Eastman Wind Ensemble. And they had no conductor for their first 20 years, and they chose their style of how they wished to play. There were only 35 players, by the way. They chose how they wished to play by listening to our recordings. So the first time I went there and had rehearsal, I said to the personnel manager and the principal clarinet player at intermission time, I said, "You're blowing my records back at me." Don't be surprised, that's how we learned to play the way we wanted to play, without a conductor, because we didn't want one. And I was the first one that they had. But this group is if I could have kept any Eastman Wind Ensemble together permanently with a salary that would be highly desirable anywhere, retirement, all the business of retirement benefits, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, all kinds of, if I could have had all of that, plus the wonderful ideas that was that group, I could have done that with any Eastman Wind Ensemble. But we couldn't do that here, but they sure did it there. And of course, it is totally sponsored 1,000% by Tokyo Kosei Kai. Once in the group, you're in it until you muck up yourself. That's the way that is. And it is, of course, a great, great group. And it plays, always plays everything. And the Dallas Wind Symphony is the same. It's the same instrumentation, the same everything. Professional groups abroad. Frequently I run into groups that I have to appeal to them as wind sections of orchestras, as I had to do in Australia for a concert I did for the Australian Broadcasting. And it was the players, and I just put out the music that I knew would fit the situation. And that always just happened because they could play it and I could conduct, and that was the result. And I think that you would find this sort of thing whenever you went today. If any of you went to Great Britain these days, say you went to Northern College, the groups there are absolutely terrific. And they play everything. And it's not only because Timothy has made it that way, they are great players and great students. It's a great idea, and it's there in England, and like it was in Rochester, an ensemble whose time had come.